What up guys, Adrian from YouMotorcycle. The other day a question came in and it was, why do so many Harley riders hate the Harley-Davidson Street 500 and 750cc motorcycles? And I think hate is a bit of a strong word, but I'm a Harley rider and I don't particularly like the Harley-Davidson Street 500 or the 750, so I felt I was uniquely qualified, or maybe not so uniquely qualified, to answer the question of why I at least dislike it and why other people dislike it. Spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with liquid cooling, it has nothing to do with small displacement size, and I will tell you guys why it is that myself and a lot of other people don't particularly like those bikes right after this. Welcome back guys. Keep in mind, some of these reasons I do agree with, some of them I don't. So for example, this first reason I don't necessarily agree with, but a lot of people dislike the Street for this reason. The motor is really a non-conformist, non-traditional Harley motor. Harley-Davidson's full name is the Harley-Davidson Motor Company. The emphasis in their whole name is and has been for the last 100 or so years on their motors. The Street 500 and 750 represent a huge shift from Harley's typical motorcycle motor, which usually has a big air-cooled engine with push rods and big cooling fins, and the Street 750 and 500 are none of that. They don't look like, feel like, sound like, or ride like your traditional Harley motorcycle. So if you're a Harley traditionalist and a fan of that Harley experience and feeling, there's something really lacking here. And that's one major reason why people dislike the Street 500 and 750. The second reason, and this is one thing that I totally agree with, the overall quality and the finished package compared to what you're used to from Harley-Davidson, it leaves a really cheap impression. It leaves a really poor impression. You know, one of those things where if it's your first motorcycle, you won't necessarily know better, but when you've been doing this for 10, 12 years, your expectations of even an intermediate beginner bike is that much better. And the Street 500 and 750 just really does not live up to people's expectations. Now, any motorcycle manufacturer today can produce a beginner-friendly, budget-friendly, entry-level motorcycle, but there's the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. And it has to meet people's expectations. So for example, I have this Vespa right over here. That's a very beginner-friendly bike, and it's everything it needs to be. It's an air-cooled bike, it's very simple, single cylinder, it's not going to outperform anything, but people don't expect that from Vespa. But let's say we take a look at Harley-Davidson or one of their competitors, Yamaha. If we look at Yamaha, what they've done with their entry-level bike, I'm talking of course about the Yamaha R3. It's inspired by the R6, which is their super popular 600cc super sport that they're really known for. The R3 is kind of a scaled down, priced down version of that. But what the Yamaha R3 does really, really well is it totally outperforms its competition. It beats out the CBR, it beats out the Ninja, all of its own size, and so it doesn't just have a great quality aesthetic, it has a good fit and finish, it has decent components for the price that you're paying, and then lastly, it beats out its competitors. So by contrast, we gotta talk about how does Harley's entry-level bike, the Street 500 and Street 750, compare to the competition? And the answer is not good. See, whether we're talking about quality of parts, fit and finish, reliability, or performance, the Street 500 and 750 motorcycles, they aren't winning against the competition. And I know there's probably a couple Street 500 and 750 fanboys who are out there, and I want you guys to do me a favor. Next time you're looking at your bike, take a look at the welds along your frame, and take a look at where the cables go into your hand controls. And you see those exposed wires, you see those really thick, ugly welds on the bike, then take a look at other motorcycles in the Harley dealership and see how much better finished and better built all of the other Harleys are, and you'll understand why people like me expect a lot more from Harley-Davidson. It just screams out cheaply made, especially in comparison to everything else Harley's doing. We haven't seen a bike from Harley-Davidson that's been this bad since the AMF years, and that's something else that Harley fans, we don't talk about that. But there's a link in the description below if you guys want to read more and find out what I mean. See, in the eyes of Harley-Davidson owners, your Harley should, if not outperform its competition, then at least outshine and outlast it. And the Street 500 and the Street 750 motorcycles just really do none of these things. And guys, it's not just these two big things of, you know, a different style of motor and the fit and finish and quality and performance being subpar compared to both the rest of the Harley brand as well as compared to even its own competitors. There's a lot of other little things that also just really weaken the Street 500 and the Street 750's reputation. When Harley first announced this motorcycle, one of the things that they did that irked a lot of people was they announced that it would not be necessarily manufactured entirely in the United States. For foreign markets, Harley would actually be building a factory that would be producing them overseas. And this bothered a lot of people because it meant that Harley wasn't going to be producing those bikes in the United States to ship to the rest of the world, which would mean more jobs and more money in the US. It actually meant that Harley was shifting production into foreign markets, which was going to hurt American workers. And that was one reason why a lot of people were not so hot for the Street family. I actually just did a video and story on this that I will link to in the little description box down below. You guys can check it out, about how Harley-Davidson actually just closed down another one of their factories in the US, while at the same time they're popping up a bunch of factories overseas, and it talks about what happened and how that's been received by people. Even Harley's own dealers don't want to necessarily push the vehicle, the street bikes, because dealers and the salespeople, their business is really reliant on their credibility, and they know that they have a product that's kind of subpar compared to its competitors. So even the guys who are supposed to be selling them just don't want to sell them. To make matters worse, the brakes on the street are really bad compared to modern motorcycle standards and other 750cc class bikes, especially. But I mean, on the plus side, the performance is pretty terrible, so you're probably not going to be going that fast anyway. One common complaint about this bike is that the mirrors are basically useless. And a lot of people are replacing them right off the get-go because it doesn't really fit the bike. And it just shows you that even Harley themselves, when they were making this bike, it was something that they made because the consultants came in and said, you guys have to do this, and the accounting department was like, we really need to do this to have an entry-level bike. But it shows just the amount of disinterest that the company had in making the bike. They didn't care. As far as reliability is concerned, I mean, just look up the number of people who have had recalls. There's like this whole street lag and leap issue, and I think there's a couple other known issues with the bike. The bike's got issues. It's got issues. It's like my ex-girlfriend from high school. Just a lot of issues. So guys, in conclusion, let me just tell you that I was actually working for Harley-Davidson when the Street came out and was available up here in Canada. And I remember just being like really disappointed, because before that I had worked on the sales floor of a dealership, and I know that like when you're not crazy about the bike, it really sucks trying to sell it. You're like, yeah, you can buy it, I guess. It's a bad experience. It really sucks. And I had high hopes, and then I saw the Street in person, and I was like, my boss was like, it's great, right? And I was like, yeah. But it wasn't great. It was not good. So don't buy into anybody telling you, oh, Harley guys just don't like the Street because it's liquid cooled, or because it doesn't have push rods, or because it's small and dainty. It's not that. It's just that as far as products goes, it's inferior in so many ways, not just to other Harleys, but to other bikes in the 750cc class. You want to buy a kick-ass 750cc for like half the price, it's twice as good? Check out this Aprilia Shiver I have in the corner. That is a sweet, sweet bike. It's got like ride-by-wire modes. You can have like a race mode, a touring mode, a rain mode. That's a really awesome bike, and you can get them on the used market for like a fraction of the price of a new Street. It's a no-brainer. The Street should be so much better than what it is, because you can make an awesome 750cc motorcycle, and it is not that bike. The reality is that Harley-Davidson could have made just that wicked cool little machine, like Yamaha riders who ride an R6 or an R1, they don't hesitate to recommend the R3, but Harley riders, we're not recommending the Street, because Harley could have made something that was really, really cool, and instead they made an even uglier Honda Rebel. Ah! Boom, shots fired at the Rebel owners and at the Street owners. I'm getting no new subscribers for this video. So that's it for me, guys. I'm getting out of here. If you watched this far and you like this video, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button too. That would help me grow this channel. I'm trying to pick it up off the ground and build it from the ground up. So if you guys could hit that like and subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. I'm Adrian from YouMotorcycle.com. I have a full article all about this topic. You can check that out down in the comments below. That is it, guys. Peace. Ride safe.